Okay. All right. I had some people ask about, they don't have a cheesecloth. The cheapest thing to do is I just take like these little dishcloths right here or hand towels, and I will just put it over top like you can see in this one and just secure it with a rubber band. Really, you can leave it open, but especially in the summertime, you're gonna get fruit flies and nobody wants that. So what you're gonna do, put that on top, secure it with the rubber band, and then just sit it somewhere in your house for up to 4 days. I would say in the wintertime, definitely go the 4 days if you can, just because it's colder. And these guys really like 70-degree temperature. I constantly have mine sitting by this crock pot over here. So if you have, sit it by your oven. Some people have their fridge gets really hot over top. So if you want to put it on top of that, that's some place to put it. So you're going to sit it there for 4 days. All right. So people who have, who haven't activated your grains, you just kind of sit back and watch the rest of this. Everybody else, you can jump in now. So you should have your grains, and yell out at me if you have any questions. Your grains should now look plump, all right? They're not like this dried, rock hard stuff. They should look, they're gonna be tiny because they're baby grains. They will grow in size and then they'll actually break off, and sometimes you'll think that they are shrinking, but it's just the babies that have broken off, and they'll grow and keep going. But your grains should be nice and plump, and you can touch them. You wanna make sure you wash your hands first, but they should never go back to this stage right here. If they start to look like this again, you've killed them. Reach out to me, I'll give you some more. All right, so y'all need to take your water, and we're gonna dump that water out because that has been sitting here for 4 days, and even though it will have some probiotic stuff in it, it's been sitting around for 4 days, and we just don't wanna drink that. Just trust me. All right, so I don't think I sent y'all a link to this. In the recap tomorrow, I will do that, but I have this awesome strainer that I got from Amazon Prime, like everything else in my life, and it's plastic mesh. You can use stainless steel, but that's the only metal that your grain should come in contact with. And this I just love because I also have a funnel, and it fits like perfectly over top of that. Well, not perfectly, but close enough. All right, so y'all take your grains, and unfortunately, we're just gonna dump this water down the drain. So I'm gonna dump that out, and then I'm going to reserve these. So, as I drip everywhere, if we can see, oh yeah, totally dripping over artwork right here. All right, so those are the grains right there. See if I can get a little closer. Hello. All right. You guys can see, I can't really see myself on here. All right, so this is what they look like. Kind of like riced cauliflower, but clear. So those are healthy grains right there. So just take a picture of this or a mental note. That's what your grains should look like. Depending on what sugar you use, which I wrote all about in the ebook if you have questions about that, they will turn the color of that sugar. So I used raw cane sugar, which is lighter. You could see in this guy that I made. If you use brown sugar, obviously they're gonna turn darker, and that's okay. All right, so you got your grains, and what you're gonna need to do is you're gonna need to feed them again. So we're gonna go through the exact same process you did with these grains, but this time, after you let them sit for a while, you're gonna get to drink it. All right, so you guys need to take your 1/4 cup of sugar and dump it in your mason jar, what I just did right here, and then add a little bit of hot water, mix it up, and fill the rest up with cold water. All right, so do all that right now. I'll talk to you a little bit about sugar while you're getting that done. Sugar is really dependent on your taste buds and how much fizz you like. The less refined the sugar is, the fizzier it's going to be. White sugar is actually going to produce your fizziest water kefir if you like super bubbly. The only problem with white sugar is that it's not, it has very few minerals in it. So after time, you might need to add some minerals to your kefir grains, which is nothing more than adding some sea salt or some dried fruit, which I talked about in the ebook. A lot of people really want that fizz, so they'll do half white sugar and then half cane sugar or turbinado or something like that. Brown sugar is awesome for your grains because it's going to have more of those minerals intact. I just really don't like that taste. I've done browns when I've only had brown sugar, and it has that molasses taste to it, and I can't stand that. So if you're a molasses fan, go for that. In fact, you can add molasses to this, which we'll talk about later. I can't go there. All right, so hopefully you guys are done. It's filled, technically 4 cups is all the way up to that brim, but I always like to leave a little space. All right, so then you're just gonna dump your grains back in there. And then you're going to do the exact same thing that we did with activating the grains. You're just going to take your little cheesecloth or your towel and put that rubber band over. All right, so the difference between this and my people who are activating is the people that are activating, you're going to need to wait 4 days. So what's today? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I'll send you a reminder on Sunday to change these guys. You guys who have already activated, you only need to wait 2 days before you can strain this stuff and drink it. All right, so before I go into after this, does anybody have any questions? I tend to fly through things. I take it for granted. So if you have a question, just unmute yourself and ask it. I think there's also like a chat button if you want to type that in. I'll just give everybody a second, or maybe you guys are all good. Okay, I'll take that as all good. All right, so find a warm spot in your house, set this for those 2 days, and then I'm gonna show you what you're gonna do with flavoring. So you guys on Friday, doesn't have to be exactly 48 hours. In fact, in the wintertime, you can let this stuff maybe go 3 days just because it's colder. But on Friday or Saturday morning, you're gonna do exactly what we just did, straining the water out, except for this time you're not gonna dump the water in the sink. You're gonna actually pour it into a bottle. It really does not matter which bottle you use. I love these swing top ones. I think it was like a box of 6 of them through Amazon Prime again, surprise. They really, hold on, hold that thought. Allison, let me see what you said. What kind of sugar did you use for yours? I thought it was pretty fizzy. I use, it's just, I have bulk bags still left over from when I was making it. It's just organic raw cane sugar. If you go in the Kroger, those little brown boxes of turbinado, that's very similar. But go through and read on that ebook where I talk about the different types of sugar. All right, so good question though. All right, so this bottle, don't go to Home Goods, and like AC Moore has some of these swing top bottles, but they have the plastic seal on them, and they just do not capture that fizz like this rubber seal does. These things are about $5 a bottle, so they are a little pricier, but I think they make, if you like fizz, I think you should invest in getting some of these. All right, so what you're gonna do after these 2 days is get yourself a funnel. It can be plastic, this is silicone. Again, it can be stainless steel. And see if you can get a filter to put on top of that. So you're just gonna literally dump this in to your bottle. You're gonna have those grains again, and the first thing you're gonna do is make your sugar water concoction. So you're gonna dump your sugar in, add the water, mix it up, and then dump your grains in, put this lid on, and go at it again for another 48 hours. All right, Flavoring is the fun part though. So once you have it in this bottle, or again, you can put it in, I mean, you can put it in mason jars. I will tell you that if you like the fizz, this neck is going to give it a much better fizz than something more open. I mean, this has more surface area to let the CO2 escape. All right, so I have some different flavors over here, and you really, once you get the grains out of here, you can add whatever you want to it. Any fruit. I've had people tell me they put like vanilla, cinnamon in. I have never tried that. I'm more of a fruity person, but this is where you have fun and just add whatever. And sometimes you'll add something and you'll be like, this tasted awful. And sometimes you'll hit the jackpot with it. I always recommend, if you've never tried it before though, try yours plain just so you get a feel of what it tastes like. So some things I have been adding lately, I got a bunch of, this one is like gorgeous. I love it. My girls love that one the most. This, I just took frozen cranberries and sliced them up, and I put them in there. And you can see you really only need, I mean, I think this is maybe like 5 cranberries. I used to put about 3 strawberries in one of these. This is one of my old bottles. This is your 4 cups right here. So you can kind of see how much I'm putting in. And you can see that that gets lots of nice fizz. And this was plain this morning at lunch. So I've only had these cranberries in since about noon today, and you can see how fizzy it got. That's the one thing you need to worry about with doing this water kefir, because they can explode if you allow too much sugar in there in the form of fruits or whatever flavoring you're adding. So I always like to burp them, and burping just means doing what I just did. So take the top, release some of that CO2, and screw it back on. This one is, I got rose hip and orange peel. And you can see that one usually gets kind of, woo, all right. See, I can't even open that one all the way. So this one, before I go to bed tonight, I'm gonna take the flavoring out because it looks like it's getting ready to explode. And this final one, I did an elderberry, and I think I put some more cranberries in there, and that one's getting really fizzy too. So these are really, I mean, since 12 o'clock is how much they've been sitting. So if you're gonna flavor, you need to check it after, like if you do it at night, I would check it in the morning. Or if you do it in the morning, I would check it at night. If you are terrified of having something explode, which I totally think you need to have something explode to be inaugurated as a fermentation queen. You can get like those storage containers that you slide under beds. Just get a big one, and you can put your bottles in there and put the lid on. So if it does explode overnight, at least it's all contained in that little area. All right. Allison said, you're not annoying. Where do I buy my bottles? Okay, so like I said, these I get from Amazon Prime. Jill got some, so she can vouch for me. These bottles I bought, they're my old bottles. I got them in bulk, so you're not going to be able to get those anywhere unless you want to buy like 500 of them, which I don't think you're going to want to do that. All right, so flavoring, we talked about that. You want to check it probably at least every 12 hours. Things that you do not want to let go much longer than 10, 12 hours are things like raspberries. That's the one that exploded on me. For some reason, that gets so much fizz. Any of those berries, raspberries, strawberries, you can see the cranberries started to do a lot of fizz. Sabrina got the Italian soda. Oh, at Marshall's. Okay, yeah. See, shop around. I am just an Amazon Prime girl. So, all right. So I'm trying to fit all this in 30 minutes. But that is the gist of how to make it and how to flavor it. From here, once you're done, obviously, I mean, all this stuff is edible, but you don't really want to, like, if you guys can see the orange peel and the rose hip, like, I don't want to drink that. So I would probably just get another bottle and again, use this to pour it into that bottle and then just get rid of all that stuff and just have the liquid left over. But if you're doing something like cranberries, strawberries, like we'll eat these. My girls love eating the strawberries. Once you do that, do stick it in the fridge. Again, wintertime, you're not going to get the fizz that you'll get summertime unless you have this stuff like next to the crock pot or the oven. So just be mindful of that. Just because it's not fizzy doesn't mean that it doesn't have all the probiotics in it. They're not going hand in hand. If you get a bottle and you open it and it's not fizzy and it's been in the fridge, you can just bring it back out and set it at room temperature for another, half a day or something, and it'll carb back up even if you don't have anything in it. As far as the alcohol content goes, because I know we have people who are going to be giving this to their kids, when you do it this way, like when you're getting the fizz that I showed you in these, we were having those really fizzy ones testing around like 0.9 to 1% alcohol, which is still, in my opinion, very small. I still feed that to my girls, but my girls don't really like when it gets super fizzy anyway. So they kind of will be able to taste when it's a little too potent for them. So if you want to make sure that it has, bare minimum alcohol content in it, I would try to feed it to your children plain, because that's going to have, 0.2 to 0.4% alcohol, which if anyone doesn't know, 0.5 is the legal limit. Under that, it's considered non-alcoholic, and above that, it's alcoholic. So 1, you cannot flavor it. 2, you could flavor it but not leave it out at room temperature, so go ahead and put it straight in the fridge. It ferments much slower in the fridge. So those are the 2 techniques I use with my girls. And then last thing, and then I want to make sure we have enough time for questions. These are now, if you have children, you now have an added child to your family. You need to put them in a prominent place. I have them like, seriously, when I come down the stairs in the morning, they're like the first thing I see. I'm just reminded. I write in my calendar when I need to change these. If you have a marker board or something, any technique that you use to remember things in life in general, add your water kefir to it. They need to be fed every 48, maybe in the winter because it's colder, 72 hours. If you forget, don't freak out. Just dump your water and feed them as soon as you can. I have a lot of techniques in the ebook that kind of teaches you what you can do if you think your grains are struggling. You can add some more sugar to it in the form of dried fruit, some sea salt. Those will give it more minerals and more food to eat. But obviously you're not going to take this with you on vacation. So very simple. If you need to go on a break, just make your water kefir like you were going to sit it out to ferment, and just stick it in the fridge. Most experts will say, can you babysit? Oh, can I babysit your grains? Well, you live so close, I can probably do that for you. But just make it like you're going to sit it out and ferment it, and just put it in the fridge. Most people will tell you, blogs, that not to leave it in the fridge over a week. I can tell you that I've left mine in the fridge for like up to 2 months, brought it back out, and just restarted it. The first couple rounds, it wasn't fizzy at all, and I just gave it some extra sugar, some extra dried fruit in there, and they picked right back up. I'm not advocating that you do that a whole lot. Your grains are going to be healthier the more you do this. But that is one technique to do. Or if you start to get so many of these bottles you just can't keep up, that's something you could do. And then your grains are going to grow. So that ratio in the ebook, that's the 3 tablespoons to a 1/4 a cup of water to 4 cups of water. I would every month measure your grains. It's not super accurate, obviously, to use a tablespoon, but you don't have to be, this is not super science over here. So every month, I will measure my grains. And when I get up to double the grains, so if you start at 3, I wait till I get to 6 tablespoons of grains before I double everything else. I don't bother with 4 and 5 tablespoons. So when I get to 6 tablespoons, I will add 1/2 a cup of sugar and 8 cups of water. And let me see if I can find, of course I don't have it anymore. Hold on. I have no idea where it is. Somebody took it, but I got from Kroger. I have a mason jar that holds 16 cups of water, and that's what our family goes through typically in a week's time. If I keep that going, circling through, I think I made so much in preparation for this in the class on Sunday that I shelved it somewhere. So yeah, okay, that's kind of the layout of it. But as you can see, really you are just taking your grains, making sugar water, adding them, and letting them sit for 2 days. Afterwards, this is just the bonus, the fun part. So feel free to ask questions, type anything. I'm trying to read everybody to make sure I got some. I know I didn't hit on absolutely everything. That's why I have the 30-page ebook. The best thing to do is to just experiment with it. Y'all all have my email. Most of you on here, I know you have my number. I've had people show up at my doorstep and ask me to smell their grains to make sure that it hasn't gone bad. We have had a microbiologist tell us that you can actually inject E. coli into this and it will kill it. So it is really hard to go south with these things. But some people like peace of mind as far as that goes. So anybody have any questions, or did you guys read the ebook and memorized it and you don't have anything else to say? Anyone tried anything? Anyone already activated their grains and they're on? Oh, good. I'm glad the book was helpful. Oh, also with your grains, they're going to keep multiplying and multiplying. You can totally eat your grains. It sounds disgusting. But some of you might get to the point, these things might multiply very rapidly, and then they might kind of plateau. Their growth is kind of like the fizz. Their growth does not mean that they're super healthy. They're just living things. Sometimes they're going to grow, sometimes they're going to rest. And I don't even remember where I was going with that. Oh yeah, eating them. You can throw them in smoothies. They make a really good compost. You can put them in your garden bed. And if you get so many, you can seriously lay them out and dry them. When you dry them, they can last up to a year like that. Yes, Allison, the strawberry. Yeah, I never measure anything, but I put maybe like 2 or 3 sliced up strawberries. The only downfall with these things is you want to make sure you're slicing the fruit up enough so that you can get it back out, just because it has that narrow width. But yeah, if you go onto Pinterest and just type in like water kefir or even kombucha, copy whatever flavors you see in the store. Ginger, I really like that one too. I haven't done that in a while because I haven't had ginger. Yes, ginger, Noelle, I would just take like an inch of it and just slice it up real thin. You kind of play around with it and figure out if you're a super ginger person, put ginger in there. Just again, with flavoring, check it every 10, 12 hours because they will get super, super fizzy. Is that all? I feel like I went so fast, but I'm going to send. Oh, does somebody have a question?
Hi, it's Noelle.
Hi.
If we still have some of your old bottles, are those better than the swing top, or does it not matter?
They work pretty much the same as a swing top, in my opinion. You saw how much carbonation was coming out of these. The only reason I like the swing top better is because you'll see that this one is like so narrow all the way down that sometimes I have to like take my finger and jab it down in there, whereas this one opens up a lot earlier, so it's easier to fit things in. But as far as getting the fizz, I think those two are pretty comparable. How long should the grains last? Carrie, the grains, as long as you are feeding them, will last longer than you and I will. All they need is a little bit of sugar. it's good if you kind of switch things up every now and then and maybe add some, like I said in the ebook, adding some dates or raisins or figs. I've added apricots before, just because they're living things. So sometimes they might want something a little different to eat, well, they all need sugar, but different sources of sugar. But yeah, they'll last a really long time. And they're pretty resilient. So even when you think you've killed them, just keep at it. They'll love you back. Yeah. Where did these start? I don't really know what that, you mean where did my grains start? Oh, okay. So like 3 years ago, I got this almost exact package from a place called Cultures for Health. If you ever want to do sourdough or yogurt or anything, they're a huge online company. I think they sell through Amazon too. I got 3 tablespoons of these guys and just kept growing them and growing them and growing them. And I can't even tell you how many grains I currently have. So you are gonna, if you keep at this, you're gonna be able to feed like your entire family grains forever. So you can give these to friends. I really don't mind if you share my ebook with them. You know, the more the merrier. So finding creative ways. I was making snack balls with the grains too. So you just like take, if you've seen those recipes like energy balls, like dates and nuts, and throw them in the blender and add some of these grains to them and roll them up. Kids never know that those grains are in there. Ew, good question. Can I use my finger to, I would say mine's like a 3-inch. This was a set. Let's see, where is it? They came like this. I got one like this, and I got one like this. And I think there was one in the middle. I don't know where he's escaped to. I think they were like $5 or something. Yeah, Heather. So Allison, your grains are from my first 3 tablespoons. Yes. Yeah, they grow like crazy. And we were trying to figure out a way to not make water kefir because of the alcohol issue, but to make grains that people could just eat. And so my brother and I, like, we grew these things from September to January like crazy, just adding figs and molasses and stuff. I mean, I could like sink the Titanic with these things. So you will have a lot of grains. I know, isn't it so fascinating? It's just crazy. These are your new little babies. All right, well, if you guys need to go, because I just got a warning that in 5 minutes they're gonna kick me off. But I am here for another 5 minutes if you wanna ask any questions. Again, feel free to text me or shoot me an email. And I have people who took classes like a year ago that still send me pictures of their grains and how much they're growing and ask me questions. So I'm happy to help with that. And yeah, if that's all, then yay, Jill, I'm so glad you stopped by that one day at the farmer's market. Now I got you hooked on this stuff. And yeah, y'all keep me posted on flavors you like, because I'm always looking for something new. Oh, and as far as ordering the flavors, I love Mountain Rose herbs. They are absolutely amazing. However, they have about a 2-week wait from when you order them. But if you find a flavor you like, order this stuff in bulk because you have bulk discounts. But if you need something quick, can y'all even see that? Frontier Herbs through Amazon Prime. They're good pricing, and that's where I get all my dried stuff that you see in this. But yeah, all right. Well, you guys have a good night. Hopefully people have school tomorrow so we can get something done. And I can't wait to hear how all these grains go. All right, guys. Thank you.